Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Optimist. I'm your host, Dean Pavlou, and I'm on here to talk all things sports, baseball winding down, the regular season winding down. We got the NFL in full swing now, week 2 of the NFL season kicking off, or kicked off last week, and week 2 this week. Thursday Night Football yesterday. Packers beat the Commanders 27-18, and Green Bay has been, as advertised so far, looking great with the addition of Micah Parsons and Jordan Love, looking good so far as well. So it's been a great start for Green Bay. And more football this week in week 2. Looking forward to it. So I'll preview those games, and I'll start off though with some baseball, and then get to the week 2 matchups in the NFL. So just want to start off with some baseball first, with the regular season winding down. Uh, and I'll start with the division leaders and in each division and go from there. So in the American League East, the Blue Jays have a 3-game lead over the Yankees. Blue Jays are 84-62, Yankees 81-65, and then Red Sox 81-66. 3.5 games back of the Blue Jays, and the Yankees doing well, 3 games back of Toronto. And then you have the Rays and Orioles rounding it out, but they're both out of contention for the division. In the American League Central, we have the Tigers, 84-63, 8.5 games in front of Cleveland, who are on second at 75-71. Then we have the Royals at 74-73, 10 games back, and then the Twins and the White Sox both well out of the race. In the AL West, we have the Mariners at 79-68, and the Astros at 79-68, tied for first. So that's going to be a great ending, great division race to the end right there, with about 15 games to go. Then we have the Rangers at 77-70, 2 games back, and they will play the Mets tonight. The Angels 69-78, and then the A's 67-80. So we got some really good races in the AL, especially in that AL West. In the National League East, the Phillies are now running away with the division after sweeping the Mets in a 4-game series. Phillies are 87-60, currently the second seed in the NL behind the Brewers. Mets are 76-71, a game and a half up on both the Giants and Reds, but things are getting very dicey for New York as they just keep losing 6 losses in a row. Haven't won a game since the Cincinnati game last Friday. Then we have the Marlins at 68-79, and then the Braves and Nationals rounding it out. In the NL Central, the Brewers are 89-58, 5.5 games up on the Cubs, who are playing right now and beating the Rays 4-3. Then you have the Reds fighting for that third wildcard spot, as I just mentioned, at 74-72. The Cardinals at 72-75, and then the Pirates well out of it, 64-83. And then finally in the NL West, we have the Dodgers in first place at 82-64. They were really struggling there for a while. They had a crazy game with the Orioles where Yoshinobu Yamamoto was 1 out away from a no-hitter, and he gave up a home run to Jackson Holiday. They took him out. Orioles proceeded to score 3 more runs with 2 outs and won 4-3. But since then, the Dodgers have come back to life a little bit. Then you have the Padres at 80-67, 2.5 games back of the Dodgers. They were struggling there for a bit as well. Then you have the Giants fighting for that third wildcard spot. They've really heated up. I believe they're 11-3 over their last 14 games, so they've been really on fire. The D-backs at 73-74, and the Rockies, who only have 40 wins. So that's what I got for the divisions. So in the American League, the Mariners and Astros battling it out for the division. And then in the National League, we have uh, pretty much everyone settled in the division besides the Dodgers and Padres. Padres 2.5 games back, so they could still make up some ground. And then, yeah, that's really it for the divisions. And then, but as for the wild card, the Mets only a game and a half up on both the Giants and the Reds for that last wild card spot, and they've been wildly inconsistent in the second half and really for the better part of 3 months. Now they've just been inconsistent. So it's just been a rough stretch for the Mets as they look to fend off the Giants and Reds for that final wild card spot. But if the season did end today, the Mets would play the Dodgers um, in the wild card round. The Phillies and Brewers would have the bye. Well deserved for both teams. The Brewers have just been unbelievable, and so have the Phillies. And then the Cubs having a good year too. Unfortunately for them, though, they have to deal with the Brewers in their division, and the Brewers have just been unbelievable. 46-26 at home, 43-32 on the road. Um, just an unbelievable season for Milwaukee, and there's nothing you could really do if you're Chicago. They'll probably end up being the first wild card, as they are currently 3 games up on the Padres for the first wild card spot. Um, so yeah, so we'll see what happens, but it looks like everything is pretty much locked in besides Dodgers, Padres in the NL West, and then in the AL West we have the Mariners and Astros battling it out for that division. Um, so we'll see what happens. So that's all I got for baseball right now. Regular season winding down. It's September 12th, so we still got the rest of this month for regular season baseball, and then playoffs will start on October 1st. But yeah, now I want to get to some football and mainly just recap a little bit of what happened in week 1 uh, and go from there. So there was a couple really good games in week 1. We had the Eagles Cowboys. Eagles won 24-20 in the first game of the year. And then Friday night we had Chargers Chiefs, which was a great game. Justin Herbert was unbelievable fending off the Chiefs. He went 25 of 34, 318 yards and 3 touchdowns in that one, beating Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And then a couple other games that were good ones. J.J. McCarthy, the Vikings on Monday night, getting the comeback win. McCarthy had a rough start to the game, but finished 13-20, only 143 yards, but 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Those 2 touchdowns were both in the fourth quarter, I believe. So he was great down the stretch of that game and really showed what he's capable of. And Kevin O'Connell doing what he does best, making his players and putting his players in the best positions to win. We had Ravens Bills, which was just an unbelievable game. Bills were down 40-25. They come storming back. They get a 4th down conversion touchdown. Then they get a turnover. Derrick Henry turns the ball over, and Josh Allen just does the rest, takes care of business, and they get a thrilling 41-40 win, last second field goal. there. So what a win for Buffalo. Uh, and then Packers Lions. Packers just looked unbelievable on Sunday, and then again last night on Thursday Night Football, beating the Lions in week one, 27-13, and the Commanders last night, 27-18. Micah Parsons has been unbelievable for them. Love has had a solid first two games, and they look like a force to be reckoned with right now. Probably at least a 14 win team this year. Just that addition of Parsons just does so much for their defense. And then I like their offense as well, as the offense looks like it's clicking right now. Uh, and then you had the Jets Steelers, a tough loss for the Jets at home, but you have to be encouraged with how Justin Fields looked. Fields went 16 of 20, 16 of 22, 218 yards, one passing touchdown, and two rushing touchdowns on the day in the loss. But Aaron Rodgers was just a little bit better in his return to MetLife. He went 22 of 30, 244 yards, and four touchdowns. So it was a great day at the office for Rodgers, who looked unbelievable in his return to MetLife Stadium. And, that was an instant classic too. But yeah, I mean, if you're a Jets fan, you have to be encouraged with the way Fields looked. He got everyone involved. The two tight ends, Ruckert and Taylor, were involved. Garrett Wilson had a hell of a day, 7 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Almost had two. And then Breece Hall, 19 carries, 107 yards, looking like the Breece Hall of old when he was a rookie. And he was just unbelievable. So you have to be encouraged if you're a Jets fan. I mean, this week against Buffalo, I'll preview that game, but they normally play Buffalo pretty tough at home. But we all know the Bills are a force to be reckoned with this year, and probably going to win the AFC East again. So now let's get to these week 2 matchups, and I'm very excited to preview these games. Oh yeah, I didn't touch on the Giants at all, so I'll do that. The Commanders took care of business in Week 1, uh, 21-6 over New York. Russell Wilson did not look that good. He went 17 of 37, 168 yards, no touchdowns. So it was a rough day at the office for Russ. And you know, I know it's only Week 1, but it looks like Brian Dable, Mike Kafka, and everyone else associated with the Giants really love the pick of Jackson Dart. So if Russell Wilson keeps struggling like he did in Week 1, don't be surprised if you see a move to Jackson Dart quickly. So let's see how it unfolds this week against the Cowboys and see how they proceed from there. But it was not a good showing for Russ in Week 1. And yeah, we'll see what happens going forward. But Dart looked promising in the preseason, and I don't think the Giants would be hesitant to move to him if things got ugly with Russell Wilson. So now let's go to those week 2 matchups. Starting on Sunday with the Giants and Cowboys. This should be a good matchup. The Cowboys looked okay in their week 1 Thursday night game against the Eagles, losing 24-20. But if CeeDee Lamb doesn't drop those 2 passes from Dak Prescott that were put on the money, the Cowboys could have very well won that game, but didn't turn out that way. Eagles got the win, 24-20, and now Cowboys will play the Giants at home. Should be an interesting one. I expect the Giants to look a little bit better this week, but I'm still going to give the Cowboys the slight edge just because they're at home. Uh, and I do, although he's a head case, George Pickens, I did like that addition more than other people. And I think you saw it in week one. It opened up more for CeeDee Lamb. So I got the Cowboys winning this one. I'm going to say 24-20 over the Giants. Then next game we have the Seahawks and the Steelers. Seahawks coming off a week one loss to the 49ers 17-13. Steelers obviously coming off that win over the Jets 34-32 at MetLife. This is going to be an interesting game. I don't think Rodgers will throw for 4 touchdowns again. Um, I mean, that's not too surprising to say, but I just don't think he'll have the game that he had against the Jets. But I'm still going to give the Steelers the edge at home. I'm going to say 27-17 Steelers win over the Seahawks. Then in the next game, we have the Rams and the Titans. First home game for Cam Ward against the Rams. Should be an interesting game. I mean, the Rams are coming off of a week one win, but it was 14-9 at home over the Texans. So low scoring. And I'm going to say the Rams get the win. I'm tempted to give the Titans the win because Cam Ward's first home game, maybe he shows out. But I'm going to still say the Rams win by 3. I'm going to say 20-17 over Tennessee. But I could definitely see the Titans winning that one. Then we have the Bills at the Jets. Josh Allen coming off a magnificent game in week one. Fields, as we mentioned, obviously a great game as well for the Jets. But I'm going to say, although I think it's going to be close, I'm going to say Buffalo wins this one 34-27 over the Jets. I just feel like it's going to be another tough loss for the Jets, but I think it's going to be close. I really do think it's going to be close. You look at the last 4 years, the Jets have played them at MetLife. All those games have been close. 22, 23, 24. So the last 3 years, all those games have been close. So we'll see what happens. But I got Buffalo winning that one over the Jets in a close one. Then we have Patriots-Dolphins. Both teams didn't look great in week one. Patriots lost to the Raiders. And then the Dolphins got blown out by Daniel Jones and the Colts 33-8. So this should be an interesting one. I'm going to say the Patriots win. I just don't have a lot of faith in the Dolphins. I think the players are kind of not in favor that much of Mike McDaniel anymore, maybe. And I just don't think he's really a head coach or really good head coach. So I got the Patriots winning this one and bouncing back on the road, beating the Dolphins. I'll say 21-14. Then we have the Jaguars and the Bengals in Cincinnati. I like the Jaguars a little bit more this year. I mean, Travis Hunter is a beast. And I hope, Trevor Lawrence can have a good year for Jacksonville. And the Bengals, I think they're going to be a good team. So this should be a good game. But I do have Cincinnati winning. It's at home for them. And I think they'll get the win 27-20 over the Jaguars. Then we have the 49ers and the Saints. This is a weird one because Brock Purdy's out now for the 49ers. The Saints, I don't expect to be good at all this year. So it's kind of a tough one to pick. Mac Jones will make the start for the 49ers. So it's going to be an ugly game. But I will say, I'll give this one to the Saints. I'll say Saints 17-14 over the Mac Jones led San Francisco 49ers. Then we have the Browns and the Ravens. The Browns made some comments about the Ravens, and that's the last thing you need to do against the Ravens team who just had a terrible loss to the Bills. I think the Ravens definitely bounce back in this one. Perfect bounce back spot, and they win 40-17 over the Browns. Then we have the Bears and the Lions, both teams coming off of terrible losses. Bears at home, Lions on the road against the Packers. This is a good one, and I think the Lions will come away with a close win. I'll say 24-20 over the Bears. Then we have Broncos Colts at 4:05. I don't expect another game like that from the Colts this week. Just too much to ask from a team that is quarterbacked by Daniel Jones. And yeah, I think the Broncos win this one pretty handily. I'll say 27-13. Then we have the Panthers and Cardinals, a nice NFC South battle, or NFC West battle, excuse me. Panthers and Cardinals. And I have the Panthers winning this one in a close one. It's in Arizona, but I'm going to say Panthers get the job done and win a close one, 24-21. And then the Super Bowl rematch, Eagles and Chiefs at 4:25. I'll say the Chiefs are going to win this one. It should be a good one, but I'll say the Chiefs, because they're at home, get the win in a close battle, 27-24. Then we have the Falcons and the Vikings in Minnesota. And boy, I mean, Michael Penix looked really good in week 1. Forgot to touch on that game, but that was a good one too. Buccaneers beat the Falcons 23-20. Young Huku had a chance to tie the game and send it to overtime, but missed it wide to the left. And that really cost them a lot and cost them to talk about Michael Penix, who really looked good in the week 1 opener. I mean, he was 27-42, 298 yards and a touchdown. And then Baker Mayfield, 17-32, 167 yards and 3 touchdowns. But I was really impressed with what I saw from Penix, and I think he can sustain that and continue to look good. It's in Minnesota, so it's a tough game for them. I like that Sunday night game. I'm going to say the Falcons win it here. I'm going to say the Falcons win a close one, 27-21. I really enjoyed watching Penix, so hopefully he can continue to do well. Then Monday night we have 2 games. We have Buccaneers and Texans. Texans are at home for this one, but I'm going to say the Buccaneers win it. I really like Baker this year again. And then Emeka Egbuka, the rookie from Ohio State, he was spectacular in week 1 against the Falcons. Let's look at his stat line here. He had 4 catches for 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. And him to go along with Mike Evans is really spectacular. They are going to be a great duo. And Mike Evans always is reliable, and for him and Egbuka to go along together, it's going to be a great duo for sure. So looking forward to seeing them work together this season and hopefully seasons to come for Tampa Bay. And then the last Monday night game, we have the Chargers and the Raiders. Justin Herbert was just incredible against the Chiefs in Brazil. Let's look at his stat line one more time. 25 of 34, 318 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He was just incredible. And I do have him on my fantasy team, so he helped me win my fantasy game. So I'm very excited for him again this week, and I think the Chargers will come away with another victory against their division rival Raiders. So it is in Las Vegas, but yeah, I like the Chargers this year a lot. I think they added some really good talent, and they have a great coach in Jim Harbaugh, and really love what he brings to the table. His energy uh, is just off the charts, and I think they're going to be great this year. So hats off to the Chargers. They look really good, and I think they will continue to look good and contend for that AFC West crown. I don't think they'll get it. I think the Chiefs will win it again this year, but don't be surprised that the Chargers come away on top in the AFC West. So let's see what happens. But those are the games for this week. Some marquee matchups. So looking forward to it all unfolding on Sunday. And then I haven't really done this, but it'd be nice to look at some college football matchups, the marquee matchups of the week, because college football is great and it deserves to get more notoriety than it does. So let's look at the matchups for this week in college football. So a few of the matchups we got of note, we got Clemson, Georgia Tech. Then we have Georgia, Tennessee at 3:30 tomorrow. That should be a good one. Number 6, Georgia versus number 15, Tennessee. A nice SEC battle. Then Villanova and Penn State. Penn State really hasn't played anyone yet. I'm sure they'll take that game handily, but my brother's a Penn Stater and he wants them to play somebody of note, and they really haven't yet. So that ends after this week. I think they have a bye next week, and then week 5 they play a big time team. Let's look at that for you. Penn State schedule. Let's see here. Wow. So then September 27th, they play Oregon. So that's a huge one. And then October 4th, they play UCLA. So Oregon is a home game for Penn State. And then UCLA is on the road. So that'll be a big game for the Nittany Lions. Then after UCLA, they play Northwestern, then Iowa, then Ohio State, who's number 1, and then Indiana. So they got some big matchups coming up after this Villanova game, especially the Oregon one and the Ohio State one. Then let's look around some more. We have Florida and LSU. Florida is unranked, but Florida LSU, that's always a big one in the SEC. And then Texas A&M versus Notre Dame in South Bend. Texas A&M is number 16, and Notre Dame is number 8 in the country. So there's a couple good games. And then you have USF, South Florida versus the Miami Hurricanes. South Florida is number 18 in the country, and Miami is number 5. And then Texas plays UTEP. Not too notable there. But so I guess it's not a big weekend in college football for big time matchups, but there are a few. So, but not too many. So yeah, let's see what else we got. Some news in the NBA. The Knicks signed Landry Shamet to a 1-year deal, and Malcolm Brogdon for their bench to a 1-year deal. So that's something to look out for. Brogdon is a good bench player. He was once named the sixth man of the year. So he's bounced around a little bit. Bucks, Celtics. So he's been around the block, and I look forward to seeing him in Knicks uniform. I think the Knicks are going to be good this year. I really do. I don't see too many teams stopping the Knicks. You got the Bucks, you got the Cavs. The Celtics are without Tatum. The Pacers are without Halliburton. So those teams, I'm sure they'll still be decent, but nowhere near as good as they were last year. And so it's going to come down to the Knicks, the Bucks, the Cavs. The Heat are not the same without Jimmy Butler. So really those three teams are in the mix, and we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, the Knicks really have a good shot to make it all the way this year, at least to the NBA Finals, and take their chances there. But that's why you play the games. But it's just amazing that their bench went from a huge problem to not that much of a problem, and almost a strength, pretty much a strength. So good for the Knicks, good for Leon Rose, making good decisions and helping out Jalen Brunson, OG, Cat, and the rest of the crew to bolster that bench and make what was once a negative now a huge positive. So the Knicks should be a huge force to be reckoned with, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do this year in year one of Mike Brown as the head coach. So, yeah, that's all I got for today. Thank you for joining me. It was fun, and I'll see you guys next week for week 3 of the NFL season, MLB season winding down, and all that good stuff. So, I'll be back on next weekend or next Friday to talk all things sports. So, thank you for joining me, and see you next week.